Hey guys, so I woke up. It's snowing in Heroes of the Storm. Okay? This is not a joke. I'll pull over a clip. I don't have a clip from my own game, but I'll pull over a clip from Zara Mag's stream.
I don't know what it's chat. It's snowing.
This is not an April Fool's joke, guys. It's a random chance, and it's similar to how Deathwing was released. There were earthquakes, random earthquakes. I think it was in like something like 5-10% of games. There was an earthquake. Then it moved up to about 50% of games, and then there were the fire that started showing up, right, where the whole like map would light up a little bit. And you could hear like fire in the background. So what that means to me is that we're gonna have a new hero. Okay, we're getting a teaser, but the real question is, who are we getting? Right? Who are we getting in this game that is Frost? Now, there has been some Blizzard, they've alluded that we're going to be getting a tank soon. People asked in the AMA and they said, please tell me we're going to bring out a tank. And all of them said yes. And they said, is it soon? And they said, it's soon. Okay, now Blizzard soon could mean a million things. But I'm hoping that it's going to be a tank. So with all the heroes that are going to come out, I'm going to keep in mind, or all the heroes that we're gonna guess about, I'm gonna keep in mind that it's most likely going to be a tank, or at least they'll try to make it into a tank. Doesn't mean it's going to be one. Like Stukov, for example, is not a healer in StarCraft, but they made him into a healer in HotS, and he's a really cool healer. I mean, he's a very unique concept. There's not a lot of healers that have a concept like that in a MOBA. But yeah, so entering the crazy conspiracy theory episode of NotParadox of why is there snow in the Nexus? Let's start guessing. So the first one that's gotten the most upvotes on Reddit is a guy that says, regarding the new snow teaser, here's the trailer for Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. The next hero is Bale. Well, I'm gonna skip past most of this so that they don't get all mad at me. Here's Bale. Bale is this creepy looking dude, the Lord of Destruction, and look at his weird facial expressions, right? He's got like this weird smile. Let's move over to, hold on, let's pause. Let's move over to like, where is it? Right here, right? Okay. Look at his weird facial expressions. Weird dude. Anyways, in this cinematic intro, it is snowing. That is all. That is it. 375 upvotes on Reddit for a snowing location. So I can do that too. We're going to assume that any hero who's ever been in snow could enter this game. No, I'm just messing around. This is a good guess, and I think Bale would be really fun. I mean, if you don't know anything about Bale, I mean, just watch this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Rip old man. But yeah, it could be Bale. This is a key moment that is very important with Bale. This is something that a lot of people remember. They see this, so it could certainly be Bale. I don't see him being a tank. He's kind of a frail version of one of these, which again, that doesn't eliminate him. But I don't think it's Bale, but I could certainly be wrong. Let's go over and let's take a peek at another possibility. We've got one person who says that the snow teaser is Duriel, right? Hinted that the next hero will be a tank. Game now features snow. The second tease was something about Deathwing. We've talked about all of this. And where does it talk about the snow? The internal name of this is the shape and form. It's called a GPU test. GPU test. I mean, this one just goes wild, guys. If you guys don't know what a Duriel is, this is what a Duriel is. It's a little slug monster. A Duriel in its natural habitat doesn't like to be in the snow. A Duriel likes to be, it's like a worm. So a Duriel's gonna want to be in like the dirt, you know? It's not gonna want snow. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a Duriel in here. Um, so what do we have left? And this is where we get into the real conspiracy, right? This is where the real conspiracy starts. So if you guys are unfamiliar with World War II, this whole conspiracy started in World War II. So back in the day, in the United States, jet pilots would put little like paintings on their jets, right? Let me pull up um they would draw like sharks or something. Like this is one of the most common ones you would see, right? Right here. You've got this like the shark teeth and everything. But there were other things that they would sometimes do. These are some of the things that would be painted on, right? Circles, just anything to make it look really cool. I mean, we have a lot of craziness happening. But what were some of the things that a little bit more of the raunchy people would end up going with, right? There were the World War II fighter jets pinup, right? And they would put these girls on their jets, and they would be in scantily clad outfits, and they would end up painting that onto their jet, right? And hopefully this doesn't get demonetized, right? I don't know. Doesn't matter. This is more important. This conspiracy theory is more important than that. Well, I do want to bring up someone who has like a jet-like feature, right? We've got Tassadar. Tassadar and his jet skin. I'm just kidding. There's nothing to do with Tassadar and his jet skin. But we've got Tychus, right? And on Tychus's skins, his first three skins, he has a pinup. Now this pinup right here is no one that we know. This is just a pinup. And that's just Tychus, that's just what he does, right? That's a pinup. But this pinup, if we go into Tychus, he actually used to have this pinup on 3 of his skins. So he had this pinup, and it doesn't have a date on here, but this pinup was in here. And it was the same girl in the dark blue, and it was the same girl in this lighter blue. So on 3 different skins, he had this same exact pinup. Well, they removed these skins. They're gone now. And in replace of those skins, here is the other shade of blue, and now the pinup is Tracer. This pinup was changed to Tracer, and then Tracer was released in the game very soon after. Around that same time, this pinup was added of Widowmaker, and then the Widowmaker skin for Nova was added in the game, which is kind of an indicator of we're never going to release Widowmaker, so we're just going to add her model as a skin onto another hero. This is their indicator that both of these heroes are already in the game. And this was the indicator that both of these heroes were going to enter the game. And this is where this conspiracy gets interesting. Because Tychus doesn't have any more of these pinups, right? There's just symbols on the rest of his skins. And on this skin, it's just, I don't know, it's just wild, right? There's no extra pinups on any of these. Tattoos, none, right? But if we went into Morales, I'm just kidding. There's no pinups on Morales either. But I mean, there's that. I'm just kidding. We go into Rexar. Okay, you're like, wait a second. Rexar's not a StarCraft hero. And then we go into this skin of Rexar, and we turn it a little bit. We have a pinup of Kerrigan, who's already in the game. We have a pinup of Kerrigan again, who's already in the game. We have a pinup of Diva, who's already in the game. So far, every pinup has either been added to the game after the pinup or has already been in the game. Except for this. We go to the Firefighter skin, or the Fire Raider Rexar. We turn it, we have that. That derpy little Mei. So, this means that we've got a high chance that Mei is going to enter this game. So, you might be going, well, Mei's a damage hero in Overwatch. We're looking for a tank. Except for, what do tanks in Heroes of the Storm usually have? Tanks usually have either mobility, or they have CC. So Tyrael's more on the mobility side, while something like an Arthas is more on the CC side. They always seem to have either reduction in damage or self-healing. So Tyrael and Anub'arak are on the reduction of damage, while everyone else has self-healing. And then they have rather large health pools. The one thing that Mei doesn't have is a rather large health pool. However, she is high in the CC category. Her basic attack will freeze someone, which means that it slows them until they get slowed long enough to where they're stunned. And that freezes them. Then, she has self-healing. Let me go take some damage. Which is another thing that is usually necessary. So in this case, let me go take a couple hits. And I'll get down to a little less than half health. Cool. I press my shift, and it stops all the damage that I take, and it will heal me back up. I believe it heals 150 health. And so that is going to bring everyone back up, right? Or at least bring her back up. So she has self-healing. She has tankiness. In fact, she's considered one of the tankiest damage dealers. I would say like Reaper's self-healing makes him tankier, but she can deal with CC a little bit better. She has a ton of CC. There's only really one reason why I don't think it could be Mei, and why maybe because they could make Mei a tank if they want to. They made Stukov a healer. They made, a lot of these didn't even really have roles. So they could make her a tank. The only thing that makes me think it's not Mei is this right here. The wall. We already have a wall in Heroes of the Storm. And a wall's a unique enough feature that I don't think that they'll go for two walls, right? I don't think that we're gonna need two different wall heroes in this game. We only really need the one. So if we only need the one wall hero, two walls would be annoying. Imagine walling off once, and then you wall off again, and if both the cooldowns are low enough, you could permanently wall someone. That would be ridiculous. So that's the only reason why I feel like Mei doesn't fit, is because we don't need a second wall. What if they remove the wall, though? What if they give her something different? What if it's something that she doesn't get the wall, but instead she gets something that allows her to pop in the air temporarily? For example, if we did something like this, right? It allows her to jump over something. So one of the strategies in Overwatch is to utilize the wall to reach locations that you normally can't reach. So let's say, for example, we want to get up here. You could do something like this, where you bring yourself up closer, and then we can punch this, or we can just walk over it. We reach an area that you couldn't normally reach. So the Mei walls are not just there for an actual wall, but it could be a way to jump her above something and then land her back down, giving her maybe a little bit of a gap closer. She could jump up towards something using the wall disappears, and then she lands down and starts freezing people. It could be her escape. I mean, it could be a mobility tool if they want to use it like that, which means that she would still keep what she's known for in Overwatch, and she would have all the features of a tank. Self-healing, survivability, CC, and a gap closer. She could eat damage for her team, because she could just take a bunch of hits and then use her thing to gain all of her life back. And she has an amazing ult. If you guys are unfamiliar with Mei's ultimate that's currently in the game, her ultimate will put a big zone that will freeze, and it works just like her auto attack. You throw it out, it slows everything, and if they stay in it long enough, it freezes them. You can then simply headshot the ones that are frozen and take them out from there. Which brings in a problem about what her headshot actually is. Her headshot doing that much damage is way too much for an actual tank. So maybe, I mean, some tanks do have damaging abilities, things that don't necessarily do a lot of like CC or anything else. So it could simply just be that she has one ability, or maybe she only slows things, and her spike is what stuns them. So it's more of a combo. You slow them with your auto attack, and if they're slowed with your auto attack, you could then stun them by hitting them with a spike. That's gonna limit the power of her stun to being only an ability. And suddenly, we've got a full tank kit. We've got a damage dealer that all the damage is going to be toned down just a little bit. We've got heavy CC. We've got a little bit of mobility, and we've got self healing. That could be Mei. She is an ice hero, which means that it makes sense that it's snowing. She could fit in the tank role if she gets moved around just a little bit. And while she's annoying, it would be very similar to an Arthas, right? Arthas can slow, root. The only thing is that she would have less sustained healing during fights. She would be more about burst healing. And Arthas has a little bit more survivability to CC. And then Arthas would have... I mean, she would have a big AoE. I mean, Syndragosa and that, I would say she would fit mostly like Arthas. But is she the only possibility? I would imagine she's probably the highest possibility. But let's talk a little bit more about another possibility. And this is where I'm going to bring in Bolvar. If you guys don't know who Bolvar is, High Lord Bolvar, 4-Dragon, was one of the most powerful paladins. He was alongside Tyrion, Fordring, right? And Uther and Arthas in the amount of power that they had. They were extremely powerful paladins. And Bolvar went through a lot. Bolvar got captured. He got tortured. He's been in many wars. I mean, he's in... If we literally went through his lore, you're gonna see he's been through a lot in this in every game. In classic WoW, he fought against the Scourge. He raided Naxxramas and he defeated Kel'Thuzad. We get into the comics. He did a whole lot of stuff in the comics. We get into Legion, and there's something missing in here, actually. Oh, here we go. Wrath, right? So Bolvar. Now, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in here. I'm just going to say that right now. If you haven't played World of Warcraft and you're planning on it, or you haven't gone through Wrath of the Lich King, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for the end of Wrath of the Lich King. There's also going to be a lot of spoilers for the start of Shadowlands. So if you haven't checked out all of the stuff that enters into the start of Shadowlands and the end of this latest expansion, whatever this one's called, I don't even remember, there's a lot of spoilers. So keep that in mind. But Bolvar, when Arthas was defeated, Bolvar took over as the Lich King. So he stepped up, and remember, I mean, Bolvar was tortured, he's been burned, he's been destroyed. The only thing that kept him going was his power as a paladin and his anger. His paladin powers generally manifested as fire. It was like kind of like Imperius, where he was like so holy, but he was angry that he was more fire than holy at a certain point. Well, he decided to take the helm of the Lich King, because the problem with the Lich King is people were worried about what would happen if the Lich King was just defeated. And if the Lich King's just defeated, the Valkyr would just bring him back to life. So you couldn't just defeat the Lich King. But then if you just left the crown on its own, someone might be able to pick it up, right? And then finally, we've learned more that the crown can't be destroyed, or in Shadowlands, when the crown is destroyed, it opened up the gate between the living realm and the realm of the dead, which in this case is the Shadowlands, which was really bad. So he ended up taking over the crown and said that he would make sure that the Scourge wouldn't be as much of a problem, because now he could control the Scourge. So we ended up with Bolvar picking up the crown and becoming the new Lich King. Ended up becoming a fiery Lich King, which was pretty cool. And that is what we ended up with Bolvar. However, at the start of Shadowlands, Sylvanas goes, defeats Bolvar, and breaks the Lich King's helm, the crown, right? And because he broke the Lich King, or because she broke the Lich King's crown, Bolvar was then thrown off to the side, left in a snowing ice crown to die. He sat there. She thought, honestly, he wasn't going to live, and he was laying in the ground to die in that shadowy, or that frozen wasteland, that snowing area. And it opened up the entrance to Shadowlands. It is assumed that Bolvar is going to have a huge role in Shadowlands, and we don't know the power level of Bolvar. I mean, currently, what we have with Bolvar is this dude that's been tortured, war-torn. He's been in a million wars. He took over as Lich King, becoming this flaming Lich King that was, I mean, like, really powerful. Probably not as powerful as Arthas initially, because he was spending a lot of that power trying not to get corrupted by everything that the Lich King has. So most of that power, he was rather weak because he was spending it. But now that he doesn't need to spend that power to not be turned, what we have is this guy that's now has some of the powers of the Lich King left over, but he also has some of the powers of being one of the most powerful paladins in the game, and he has all this fury that's built up along the way that's created a single person that is a powerful soldier that looks awesome, who was reborn in a snowing area. He also looks like a tank. So he could be a tank. He fills a major role. Everyone's going to be seeing Bolvar. There's also this gimmick, this oddly secondary conspiracy here, that Blizzard likes to bring in characters that die in the main game in World of Warcraft as heroes in HotS. I mean, we saw that with a couple different heroes, right? We saw Varian, who died and then was brought into Heroes of the Storm. So if that's going to be if Heroes of the Storm is the graveyard of the Blizzard universe, and I don't mean that in that way, but I guess it kind of is also in that way, then this would also make sense, because there is a good chance that Bolvar is going to die in this expansion. There's no real way around it. He's this guy that's been through a lot, and he's always self-sacrificing, and one of two things is going to happen. He's going to jump in with both feet at the start of this expansion to try to fix the things that he's messed up. And because he did give into the Lich King's crown at the very end, which is why we used to see Bolvar with the gold eyes, and then the last time that we saw Bolvar, he had the blue eyes. So he did give in at the last moment. And so it could be his redemption arc, and a redemption arcs often lead into someone dying. And in this case, there's a good chance Bolvar will die, and that means that there's a good chance that we may see Bolvar entering Heroes of the Storm. So, all of these crazy conspiracies, what is the one that kind of fits the most for you guys? What is the hero that you think matches the snowy theme the most? Number one, the snowy theme the most. And what is the hero that could possibly be a tank? Because they said there's a good chance that we're going to be seeing a tank. But is there one that I missed? I know a lot of people have mentioned the wizard in Diablo, the Nephilim wizard in Diablo, has the potential of going an ice build. In fact, you can turn almost any of your abilities into ice, and one of the meta builds is the Frozen Meteor build, and we don't have a Frozen Meteor. I mean, I guess the closest we have is Kel'Thuzad's like big chain ult that lands down. But yeah, I mean, we could see something like that. There's a Frozen Laser from Li Ming, but I mean, a lot of those abilities, it's like that's already kind of on Li Ming, and the Frozen stuff's already kind of on Jaina. I mean, she's the Heroes of the Storm Elsa, if we're just being honest with ourselves. So I don't know if we're going to see something like that, but let me know. Is there something else that seems more likely? I've never seen anyone mention Bolvar. I feel like Bolvar would be a great option. Most people seem to be leaning towards Mei, and again, like there's a good shot at it. I believe that they were working on Mei 2 years ago, and then they decided not to go with Mei because everyone was complaining about all the Overwatch heroes, which means I think there's a good chance that Mei has been done in the game. Her animations, her model and everything, I think it's been done for like a year and a half. And so that could just be something that they just bring out, maybe change the numbers a little bit so that she's more like a tank, or just leave her as a damage because she's already done. So what do you guys think? It's snowing in the Nexus. What hero do you think is going to be it? I mean, some people think maybe it's just an Arthas remodel, because that was also something it was asked in the AMA, and they said we do have an Arthas remodel planned, but it probably won't come until 2021. But maybe they did it early, right? Why is it snowing in the Nexus? I think it's a hero teaser. We'll know more soon, but what do you guys think? Is there anything in particular? Do you think there's any world that we get Bolvar? Do you think there's any world we get May? Yeah, I'm just rambling now, but what do you guys think? I'm really curious. Throw it down in the comments below. Why is it snowing? What hero is it? What do we need to know?